Okay, it's got to be done. See, I'm the only white guy that lives with Winston, who's from Jamaica, moved here at 12 as a PSW. He's been in the news. He's been in the news, takes care of people that can't really take care of themselves. I'm like the only person. Well, there's two people. There's me and Tosh, the Tosh Mahal. And he's from Iran. And his father lived till he was 105 and actually brought the fingerprinting system to Iran and has fingerprinted more than 55,000 people because he worked for a big, huge, he worked for the biggest Middle Eastern oil company because he had those, because he went to India. This is Tosh's dad, right? When he was 25, he went to India, went to school and took a course that nobody in Iran had ever heard of. Not even the police had heard of fingerprinting. So anyway, that's a little history of like one of the people that I live with. The other guy's downstairs. Don't ever see him. You can probably hear me. He's probably listening through the vent in the floor. Every once in a while, he'll come out and wear his pants around his ankles and stuff. Yeah, again, I'm like the only white guy here, right? So that wasn't a pretty sight the first time I saw it. And of course, I was yelling out the top window there, like, "Put your ass away, you idiot!" And of course, he argued with me like always, because that's just his go-to psychological trait that he uses. And I can even like be in half asleep and hear him say like a few sentences, and I already know that there's about to be an argument because he uses the same sentence structure when he's getting riled. So, and yeah, so I live with a bunch of people that have many different like mental deficits, or they could be physical maladies that haven't been diagnosed properly, and nobody else wants to take care of them. And so when Winston opened his first like care home, he didn't know what he was doing. He was just trying to help some people out, and then all of a sudden, all the hospitals and stuff started calling him. And so you'll see a scene now, like when I was driving and I went and picked up this one man. We'll call him Charlie Boy, and he's an elder, and the nurse came up and hugged me during COVID. I wasn't wearing a mask, and she said, "Thank you, no one else will take him," and she was crying. I did my best, and I didn't cry in front of her. I did it later. So if anyone's mistakenly looking at my commentary on YouTube and thinking I'm like some idiot that ain't doing nothing, you haven't done shit compared to what I've done in most cases, right? Like there was at one point like literally 700 pounds of fucking melons that I unloaded the 1 week. Right? And then we distributed that amongst 5 different houses where people didn't have enough because the one person running the one home doesn't distribute it. Right? They just throw it out, like a lot of them, and then they say, "Oh, there's not enough food for people." Well, yeah, because you kept it in your freezer till it went bad. This is going on everywhere, people, but you don't know because you've been isolating in your home, hiding, letting the good old virus gestate and fester all around you in a closed space so it can like more quickly build up. And if you were going to get sick, you'd be like really sick. And then if you were going to die from it, you would be dead. But I still don't know anyone personally that the cause of death. Now you need to go back and look at my other videos that I've posted in my COVID folder on my YouTube, because you're watching my YouTube right now. And in there, you will see what's really going on, right? And if you don't believe a nurse that used to be in the army, okay, in Iraq, right? And then she came back to the States and wanted to help. So she became a nurse and she worked in Florida. And then she heard about the crazy hospital up in New York and decided to go there and take a camera. So if you're a doctor and you're watching those videos, pay attention. Maybe watch it a few times and watch her crying. And then go and look at the other video of the other nurse Same thing. Doing the same thing. And that she witnesses a doctor kill a man after she's told him, if you do that thing with his heart rate like this and that, he will die. And she went out and told the head nurse, and she just went like this and shrugged her shoulders, and then she turned around and the guy did it and the guy died. So just because you have DR with a dot after it in front of your name doesn't mean you're fucking too swift, does it? There's going to be so many horror stories come out after all this is said and done. And when they finally crunch all the numbers and everything, it's going to be less than the flu of deaths, because that's the only number that counts. You got to go and watch all the videos of the experts that aren't influenced by Big Pharma, like Dr. Oz and all the other ones who retracted all their stuff within 24 hours of saying that they thought it was fucking crazy what we were doing, all this isolation stuff. But the next day, of course, once the news channel gets a call from Big Pharma and says, hey, we're going to pull that ad worth like 25 million, right? They're like, oh, you better fucking take that back. So they do. But they're being smart, right? They're not stupid. They didn't get on TV because they were stupid. It's like in a court of law when the person protests, the other lawyer, I protest. And the judge says, strike that, ignore that, okay, jury. Well, they already heard it, so you know exactly what Dr. Oz thinks. You just watch the first video and then ignore what he said after he gets threatened with his fucking pension and paycheck going away. There. And just because you know a doctor doesn't mean he's too swift, because I overheard a lady that was teaching another lady that was going to be a doctor. So obviously she was in post-med or doing her what do you call it? Dr. Cruz, her residency, right? So she's helping tutor other people, and I hear her at Starbucks saying, don't worry, you can take the same test over and over and over again until you pass. What? It's not hard to be a doctor anymore. Like, that's fucking insane. Once you're in med school, it's like basically they won't even let you wash out. It's like this, it's like went from like, no child left behind in fucking public school because they couldn't do 2+2. And now you have doctors that are looking your shit up on WebMD right in front of you because they don't even know. So that's why I raise an eyebrow as soon as I see a doctor post anything, until I've watched all their stuff and like thought about it and went, does this make logical sense? You only have to go to the Vulcan logic, right? That's it. Once you've been there, you can just dissect what everybody's saying. And then as soon as you see them start making political posts, then you just dismiss. Because politics have no part in this, although politics is what's driving all of it, and money and greed. Okay? Don't kid yourself. It's still a human race.